very important that we talk about the wine, that we talk about the culture, but we talk about the business formation.
They told me I could be the president.
So just look at me
Cheers.
while we're talking, but does the smell matter to you?
Absolutely.
It does? Why?
Yes. I would say part of the wine is the aromas. Obviously, the flavors are very important, but overall, the entire experience. I mean, this is.
Oh, wow.
It's a wine that's always evolving. Right now, we have a 2019 Carneros Pinot Noir in the bottle that we're tasting, obviously in our glass, and you heard it. Wow.
No, well, I think also taste, color, body. I don't know whoever taught me, probably fucked me up, but I like it because now I'm used to looking at the legs. Because the legs, if I do this and it doesn't have runny consistency paste-like legs, then for some reason it just throws me off, right? It's kind of like if I have a cigar and the shit burns fucked up or the wrapper's cracked, that means someone didn't keep it properly at 65, 68. We have some friends of mine that give me cigars. I'm like, you're giving me a fucking heart attack because it's so dry, it's so humid, it's ridiculous. But I like the legs, I like the color, but I think what I want to talk to you about is that you have all the components that I love, but the temperature matters, huh?
Absolutely.
This is fucking crisp.
That's also something else. You want to obviously drink white wine a little bit chilled, especially during the summer where the climate's a little bit warmer. You want to have it around 45 degrees, nice and chilled. Whereas white wine, you want to have it at room temperature. Right now, this temperature is probably around 60 degrees. So this is ideal for
what temperature you want reds then? What temperature?
60.
So you can put it in the fridge? Or
you can put it in the fridge, chill for a little bit. I would say 25, 30 minutes, just depending on the outside temperature. Let it chill, take it out, but no longer than 30 minutes.
What are your favorite meals with shit? I mean, you have, okay, stop. Let's talk about this. Rosé of Pinot Noir. What made you want to do this?
So Rosé Pinot Noir, as you can see, I have adopted the hummingbird as my logo.
Yeah.
So the hummingbird is attracted to bright colors. I wanted to make a Rosé Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir specifically is my favorite varietal to work with. It's a very delicate grape, but at the same time, I wanted to craft Rosé of it because I would say the common things that you would find in a Rosé, they're very light in color, light in body, and I wanted to create something completely different.
Let's face it, I love how you're giving me the behind the scenes, but on the outer, I love the color, I love the complexity that I can have this with protein, and I can have it with a salad, and it can hold up to both. So I love it. I think it's also a sexy looking wine.
Thank you.
So I can't wait. For that one, I'm gonna sous vide a turkey breast and in a lechon marinade pernil, but it's gonna be a pavo chong. So I can imagine the boldness of the garlic and the oregano and salt, 275 naranja agria, with a rosé. Fuck, I can't wait. Now we got here a Sauv Blanc. Describe this.
Yeah, so my Sauvignon Blanc, it's complete opposite of the Rosé. The Rosé is going to be a little bit bigger, more fruit forward, whereas the Sauvignon Blanc is going to actually be lower acid, more approachable wine.
What do you drink that with? What do you eat and drink that with?
The Sauvignon Blanc itself, you can have that with seafood, sushi. You can also have it with salmon, which is actually one of our favorite meals, my wife's and I. So anything really, but in general, it's a very approachable wine. So
how do these hold up to Chile's heat?
Very well.
Okay,
so
good.
They both have bright acidity. Acidity is what helps kind of balance off any meal that would be spicy. For example, the Sauvignon Blanc, I like to pair it up with some Asian, but specifically Hispanic foods that bring out that spice. I know some of us can handle the heat and others cannot.
I really can't, but I'm curious because I do use a lot of heat for flavor, not for impact of your palate, you know? And I'm thinking I want to recommend this to my friends who make their own chiles. So Mama Maria Chile, Jerry Asencio's in family, you're going to have to prep these because I think they make this cochinita pibil, they make the burnt ends barbecue Texas style, but with a Mexican chile.
Okay.
And I want them to pair it with wines. I think that if the Braceros program bought a lot of Latinos here and Mexicans here, that means that they were drinking wine with the foods of their country.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's what I'm discovering now that's just freaking amazing. So how long have you been in the wine industry?
So I've been in the industry since about 2003 when I graduated high school. I worked for about...
You're a young guy too.
35 years of age. So.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, you're young because how long you been in the industry?
10 years.
That's what I'm saying. It's like almost 30% of your life.
Yeah. So yeah, I ended up being in the industry, but my dad came here when I was a little bit younger. I was about 6 years of age. They brought me and my entire family here, and I have older siblings. That
You were born over there?
I was born in Mexico.
You came here at what age?
They brought me here when I was 6 years old.
Okay, got it.
And like I said, I have older brothers that are also in the wine industry, but I didn't wanted to, I would say.
Did they landed in Napa?
Yes, yes.
Okay, got it.
St. Helena, which is a small town up valley, and then we've just moved to Napa and been there since.
That's what I'm saying, 90s. Man. I got stuck in Concord and Pittsburgh, California, bro. You guys had Napa.
Hey,
you're a step ahead. But I'm glad.
We have different tools, and these are the tools that we're working with.
What interested you to work the wine industry? Is that a thing to do in Napa, or it's not like working at the mall, working in real estate? You say I'm going to get into the wine business. Is it because of the money? Is it because the passion, the love of work? What made you say I'm going to give wine industry a chance in Napa Valley?
It has to do with passion, pride, and experience. So experience has to do with, again, my dad dedicated over 35 years of his life to the vineyards. I have 3 older siblings that are also in the wine industry. I have an older brother who's a winemaker in Napa Valley. And after seeing them and all their sacrifices that they made, so I can have I would say a better opportunity, is I went to school for business, and I said, okay, I'm going to take this to the next level. Not only that, am I going to be a winemaker, I want to be a winemaker for my own wine label.
Hold up. How long were you in the wine industry before you started thinking like that?
About 5-6 years.
So this isn't your typical video interview. You've seen the others, correct?
Yes.
It's very important that we talk about the wine, that we talk about the culture, but we talk about the business formation. Because people tend to stereotype, that Latinos are only laborers. Obviously not. You want to do your own business, right? So when you wanted to do it to when you launched it, how long did it take?
It took me about, I would say, the idea started in my mind around 2014, so about 6 years ago.
Okay.
But I really started to get focused in on it about 4 years ago.
What was the first thing you started doing? Was it looking for money, for capital?
No, it's really, again, showing that appreciation to my family for all their hard effort. And
No, absolutely. What I'm saying is the first obstacle to overcome was producing the wine that you like, the components of flavors that you like. Was it the flavors, or was it access to starting your wine?
I would say the access to starting my wine.
Okay, got it. So you saved some money, you found a way to make it happen, what have you, right? You are a winemaker or not?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. See, so I'm getting to know winemakers and non-winemakers, right?
Yeah.
So you already knew what you wanted. How would you describe your wine?
So as far as my wines, they're single varietal, naturally fermented, and I try to make them very approachable that you can enjoy them with and without food.
Absolutely, we talked about it earlier. Your biggest pet peeve of wine drinkers in Napa, how do we avoid embarrassment for them?
I think it's giving all wines an opportunity, because
Really?
a lot of people say, I don't like that varietal. Why? Because of this. Well, have you tried this one? No. Have you tried that one? No. Then you cannot base it on your past experience because you haven't tried all the wines.
Got it. So your biggest pet peeve is when people come closed-minded. If you're going to come to Napa and you're a novice or beginner, be open to everything.
Be open to everything and try something new.
Got it. 6 years in the making. What was your first milestone of success, like your pat on the back?
My first one was finally getting my label approved, seeing that on the front of the bottle, seeing my name on the back of this bottle, and becoming a reality. This is happening. This is me, and it's just the excitement.
Got it. We talked earlier about where you want to take this. After the other interviews you've seen and you've talked to me, has that changed as far as the opportunities you have?
Yes, it's changed where I can see I can reach further than I originally thought.
Because nowadays you have chef, winemaker, you have to think beyond the art. Unfortunately, you have to focus on good wine, because without good wine it's not going to sell. But now you have to think of the operations part.
Of course. The
profit side, the social media. Now, how important is social media to you?
It's important. Obviously, we are in the midst of, I would say, newer times or ages where this is what helps reach out brands to people. And and that's, I would say, a direct way to connect with the consumer.
What are people saying about your wine?
They are really amazed, to be honest. I don't like certain wines, but yours specifically.
How much does a Pinot
them.
bottle cost?
So Pinot bottle, again, 100% Pinot Noir, $45.
45 bucks,
retail
got it.
price.
So it's on a higher price. Not, I'm saying, I don't want to mean higher price like don't buy it. I'm saying it must be, okay, for example, you can buy, Adidas for 120, you can buy Prada for 600.
Right.
You're in that $45 range, so there must be some good shit on this.
Oh yeah.
Well, it is. I'm tasting it.
Quality is important to me.
100%. I like that.
Learning from other winemakers or other startup brands, something that they were not doing, which I recognized from the get-go, was quality.
Yep.
I mean, you have to put in the right fruit, the right barrels, the right winemaking.
You talk about balance too.
And balance is the most important thing.
What would you do differently, knowing what you know now and how you started back then?
I would do something differently as far as seeing, I would say, the wines that I've crafted, because I am, although very happy with them, I would make them slightly different in the way where maybe I can add a little character to it.
Okay.
Because they do have a personality which attaches to my wine style, but I also want to add a little.
So you were a little straightforward back then. Now you're saying add something different, a little attachment to the character.
A little attachment, more to it, so they can recognize specifically that it's my style of wine.
What is your favorite meal to eat?
Out of all, as I said, if it was my last meal on earth, I would have mole and arroz.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Why? Who makes it? You make mole? Or
I've
your
learned,
grandma?
but my mom.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think mole is sophisticated. I'll have to make my mole and have you try it. I make a good mole. Wow, that is so cool. A $45 bottle of Pinot, and your last meal would be mole.
Yes.
That is so dope.
Yeah.
Have you had this with Colombian food?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've had it with.
Because they don't use very much spice, but it's a lot of garlic, a lot of mojos,
yes.
right?
Yeah. I've had it with bandeja paisa.
Okay.
Like so, just because there's a sausage, there's a meat, there's again the rice, there's the onion, there's a bunch. It's a big plate. I cannot.
But
I normally can't
but you
finish
said
it.
earlier balance. So balance
Yes.
overstood all those different.
Yes. So
kind of flavors.
it's trying to hit everything at once, and it's always. It's wanting to improve the wine. It's always trying to make it better. It's always trying to hit all the points. Something you miss because with a meal you can enjoy it and say, okay, I could have had this, I could have had that, and that's what it's always learning from that.
What does Fathhia stand for?
Fathhia originates from a word, from an Arabic word, and it translates to victorious.
Ooh, I love it. See, you like the story, the hummingbird. It's great. Dead or alive, who would you like to have dinner with and why?
I would say my grandparents that I didn't get to meet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so my grandmother, she passed away before I was born, basically. I mean, when my mom was very young, so I never got to meet her.
In the States or in Mexico?
In Mexico.
Okay, got it.
So I would really like to, sit down, have a meal with her, have a bottle or a glass, simply just to get to know her, because that was one of my grandparents that I didn't get to meet.
What would you ask them?
El amor.
There you go.
How she translated that love into my mom and that love into me, and to again have this much love for my family and respect for them, and that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah, I don't want to be like Luis and cry, because I want to talk about my grandparents.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that. Where do you want to take this in the next 3 years?
Really, I want to grow it. Have a reach out to a larger audience, and really for them to really taste and have that appreciation of my wines.
You were talking earlier with Jesus about just the industry, and I caught the last end of it about saying hay que mover para adelante, hay que apoyar. What specifically were you talking about? Because real quick for our viewers, the majority of the work. Okay, let me ask you.
Sure.
The majority of the labor industry, what percentage is Latinos in Napa?
I would say if not 100%.
Yeah, me and Luis were talking about if it's like two white people, it's because they couldn't get a job at Uber. They had DUI,
98 plus.
Got it. So and 1,400 wineries. So per each winery, what is the minimum or average guesstimate of Latinos that work to produce the grapes for that winery? I want to put things in perspective.
I would say a good 60 to 70%.
No, I get that. But how many? So, for example, how many Latinos work in the grapes to produce for a Clos Duval?
Wow, that's a tough question.
Just guesstimate.
I would say, I don't know, a couple hundred.
Okay, perfect. Let's just say a couple hundred. 1,700 wineries. It's fucking 4,000 people.
Yeah.
Out of those 1,700 wineries, there's only registered close to 500 tasting rooms. So I want to put that in perspective. You have 4,000 people, maybe 500 tasting rooms. How many of those 500 do you think are Latino owned?
I would say a handful, 30 to 40.
Exactly. So do you see why I get so excited by telling you guys a story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they can go visit your taste room, and now there's one of the reasons I like cigars.
Just a little more Pinot.
Yeah, one of the reasons I like cigars is because you're able to disconnect and have a conversation. And if people can enjoy the wine, they're going to enjoy your story even more.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You know, and so your wine is delicious. Your story is amazing. So we talked about pet peeve. We've talked about your last meal, which I can't believe it's just so simple. I love it.
It's actually what I had for my wedding.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking, cheers to that, bro. Look at the camera. Respect. Humble OG. Does your family love wine?
Yeah.
Your wife, obviously?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's how we ended up meeting here in Napa Valley, and then we ended up conversing how much we really enjoyed living in this area. You know, I lived in this area, she did not. So we ended up kind of putting our thoughts together and realizing, hey, we're in a little, you know, I would say piece of heaven.
No, absolutely. What are some of the biggest hurdles you had to overcome in the wine business?
I would say it's just partly has to do with appearance, name, and really just trying to make it out there. Even trying to contract grapes. If you don't have a connection to somebody, they're like, even if you had the capital, which, you know, we all have worked really hard for our money, but even if you had it, if you don't have the name or a recognition or somebody knows you, they're not going to sell you grapes.
Got it. It's like any industry.
Yeah.
But what happened? How do you take it? You just kind of like Floyd Mayweather, you're like, you know what, let me just brush it off and move forward?
Yeah, brush it off, go to the next, knock the next door, and keep knocking until you find an opportunity. And like I said, so you had to reach out to, you know, a lot of people, and a lot of people unfortunately didn't end up responding for you, but eventually someone was able to say, hey, you know what, there's maybe a chance there. And again, it's just continuously wanting to do something about it. And I said, hey, I'm going to make it, and I want to succeed, and I want to be victorious.
No, I love that. Hence. Listen,
there it is.
We went over the stats. You are one of the few that have a tasting room. So that is our responsibility to promote that. But more importantly, congratulate you, bro.
Thank you. Gracias.
So one of the things that I love about talking to Pedro and Fathhia was the balance. And, you know, in talking to him, you've seen the other shows, you didn't see him being the typical, because he's a winemaker. He owns his own wine. He's got his tasting room. He's providing flavors. But when I asked him what his last meal would be chicken mole with rice. He actually had his wedding. I love that of being in America, is that we can adapt to, you know, this is the best nation to live, hands down, and I'm from Nicaragua. But we are very fortunate to live in this country, not just because of the United States, but because of the culture and traditions that we maintain. And so I enjoy every interview I do, because we wouldn't interview if someone sucked. You know, the wine is delicious, but what's even better is the story. So, you know, I've seen a lot of wine, you know, just kind of dabbling in this, but, you know, you got a rosé of Pinot Noir. Look, I'm gonna sous vide a turkey breast that's marinated like I'm making a pernil. You know, I don't like bones. I'm gonna sous vide it. You know, and I love how we've progressed, that here we are, Latinos, hablando en nuestro idioma, hablando la cultura, hablando los sueños, but we're pairing wine with food and sharing stories. You know, I think the wine is good, but what's even better is the story behind it. So check it out. I can't say anything else.